am Emily.
Do you know what we're talking about?
While we're singing,
Why are we singing?
because that's what this episode's all about. So lend us your ear.
And give a good cheer. Katrina, you can take it from here.
Hello! So today I'm going to be interviewing Kylie Kiel. Kylie Kiel, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, hi, I'm Kylie Kiel. I'm 19 years old and I am a college student at Mesa College. I find myself doing a lot of things, but especially in the pandemic, it's hard to pinpoint the things that I do because it's like, oh, I'm in my bedroom doing all of these things. Theater. Let's talk about theater for sure.
Yeah.
I did a lot of theater in high school and I still do theater for sure. I acted in a lot of productions and then started directing my senior year. I was a student director for a production. And then after that, since then, I've done music directing and I've done playwriting. And I've taken a couple classes with theater as well. I'm interested in being an interdisciplinary computing arts major, which is computer science for music technology. So it's a very artistic form of computer science. And so what I'm really interested in doing is writing musicals, and I'm really interested in how music tells stories and sound tells stories. And so in my free time, I do color guard and I edit a podcast called Illuminating Diversity. And yeah, that's me.
That is so cool. Oh my gosh. So first of all, the fact that you're interested in writing musicals and writing, that is amazing. And then the podcast, wow. You're I'm a little taken aback. Okay, so this episode is about musical theater. So what is it that's different about musical theater specifically that makes it interesting or appealing to you?
Ooh, what I love about musical theater the most is, I was a music student before I was a theater student. And so the music aspect is definitely what made me love it so much. But what I really like about it is the reality behind the songs, because obviously in reality, you don't have feelings and you're like, man, I just need to get this out. Let me just do a quick flash mob at the mall. That doesn't happen. But on stage and in musical theater, it totally does. And so that's what I love about musical theater. It's that it sounds insane, but the reality is that people have feelings and the only way to express them is through song. And so you're telling a story through so much, through the set, through the lighting, through lines, through movement and dance, but then it's also through music, and there's constantly music happening, and it's just a really cool thing to experience.
Yeah. I mean, I can only say that High School Musical and the musical, that lied to me. I thought I was going to enter high school because we're breaking out, but in the song, but I guess not. So I mean, especially during the pandemic, I mean, that's a whole different obstacle that we've had to face over the past year. But I feel like everyone has their obstacles in musical theater, whether it's something as simple as a quick change that's really hard, where you have 30 seconds to change costumes, or if it's a bigger thing that you have to go through. So how have you persevered through different obstacles in musical theater?
So I have one from live theater, and then I have one from the pandemic time. In live theater, one of the roles I got was an angel in Anything Goes. And the angels are kind of like the showgirls, but it's taking place in the 1920s, so they are tap dancers. And I got cast in this role, and I do not tap dance. So that whole it was I was really open to learning it, and I guess the director was like, oh, she'll learn. So that 3 or 4 month process of learning that show was putting tap shoes on every day and making sure I could do the basic things so I could do the more advanced things. And it was also acting I know what I'm doing, even though on the inside I'm I have no clue what I'm doing. So that was tap dancing is an obstacle. Respect for all the people who tap dance, because oh my gosh, your feet have to move so fast, and a wrong step can make a wrong noise, and oh my gosh, that was such a complex thing. But then through the pandemic, like you said, there are a lot of obstacles, and I think especially with producing musical theater, like not live, I think something that is so just a major point of musical theater is there are so many moving parts, and it is this thing that is basically controlled chaos, because you're taking all of these people who are passionate about all of these different things and putting them together, and it's like this big, you're kind of making this whole new world.
Yeah.
That's all, like each component is like thought of by someone, and so it's just a lot of people, and just the concept of having a chorus sing like on Zoom is not something that's possible in lifetime like it is in reality and not online. So last summer I was the intern music director for the Farr Summer Shakespeare Studio, and in that role, the first thing that the director and I, or the music director and I, kind of realized was we wanted the finale, we wanted the ending song to be like a chorus moment. But in person, that's not an issue. You could have taken the whole time to write the song and been like, okay guys, we're just gonna sing this like on stage. We learned the song. You could have learned it, I guess, like 2 days before. I think that's what I did this summer before. When I was an ensemble for that same program, I think we learned the song like 2 days before we performed it, and it was all good because you could just perform it like in real time. Whereas with this pandemic and with being on Zoom, it was like, cool, so this is the first song we need to crank out so we can give them time to give us recordings, so we have time to edit all of their voices on top of each other. And that was a process, but I think it turned out well.
It turned out great. I was a part of the program and it came out amazing. So like I did not think that would be possible, especially over Zoom, but it was. So I think we've covered like pandemic stuff. Okay, we'll go like more personal. What is your favorite musical theater show or moment that has ever happened to you? Or
again, I feel like I have two answers for this, but the logical question for saying like what's your favorite musical, I think, is your favorite show is always the show that you're doing. And so this show is probably going to stick with me for a while because I don't think I'll be returning to like live musical theater until it is live. But the last show I was working on was Grease, and I was playing Frenchy, and she was just a fun character to get into and like to learn so much, just learning about her. And I got to be like this pink moving thing kind of, because like that's her personality. She's just like so pink and so girly. And so it was nice to tap into that. Plus like the hair and the costumes really just made a huge difference in that show. So that was a lot of fun. But my favorite show, and the reason why this is like kind of separate, is because it's not a show I've done, but during the pandemic, wanting to enjoy musical theater, but not really being able to, my favorite show by far is 36 Questions, because it is a podcast musical. So you get the full experience of the musical without having to go anywhere, without having to need a space for it, because it's just like a podcast on Spotify, and there's 3 acts and you listen to it and you're getting a full show without needing to pay any money or needing to be in person.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. You said 36 Questions?
Yes.
Everyone check out 36 Questions on Spotify because that sounds so cool.
Jonathan Groff is in it and he's amazing.
Okay, that's another reason to check out Questions. Yeah. Okay, so final question for the day. Any advice for people who want to go into musical theater, or I mean, you mentioned like writing musicals, like you've been working on that, anything along those lines?
I think that anyone who's interested in art, there's always a place for anyone interested in art in theater, because there is set design, there is music, the music aspects. There's sound design, there's lighting. There are so many things. Like, I know in set design, you could even like sculpt things. Like, the possibilities in theater are endless, and that's really like what we work towards, is having a place for everyone. So I think if you're interested in trying, whether it's acting or writing, just start doing it. And like that can sound really scary, but the reality is you're never gonna know what something's like unless you try it.
Yeah.
So what's great about theater is you just jump into something that you're interested in. And because what theater is, it's teamwork. You're never working alone. You're never going to be isolated for anything. And so that's why it's like, the only thing I can say is like, just jump into it, just try it, because there's going to be so many people caring about you, and you're never going to be alone.
Yeah, I love that thing that you said earlier, controlled chaos, because I mean, again, that is what musical theater is. And I have met plenty of people who are like, I want to do something in theater, but I don't really know what. It's like, there are like so many options for you to choose from. Like, even in this interview series, we were trying to do a bunch of different aspects of theater, whether it's Shakespeare or writing or tech design or things like that. And we still haven't even covered a fraction of what theater covers. Like, there's so many things that you can do.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Kylie Kiel, for your time. And yes, check out 36 Questions. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, thank you so much. And
thank you for having me.
Thanks, Kylie Kiel and Katrina. That was great. And thank you for writing the music for this episode, Kylie Kiel.
For sure. That was a super interesting interview. All right, now we're on to Jada, who's going to be interviewing Missy Alcazar, who is a musician. On to you.
Hi, welcome back to Creative Youth Studio. Today we are interviewing Melissa, also known as Missy. I'm so excited to have you here today.
No, thank you for having me. What an honor.
Okay, so my first question is, just tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you get interested into musical theater?
Sure. I am a professional dueling pianist, also a singer-songwriter or aspiring singer-songwriter, and as of COVID and pre-COVID, a professional Twitch streamer. I now make my living as a musician on Twitch. Streaming 3 times a week. It's a lot of fun. I really love doing it. And I got into musical theater because I actually grew up, performing music, classical music, and accompanying. So whenever I'd go to school, high school, elementary school, I was always the go-to pianist. So whenever there was some sort of production or play, I was the first person they would ask to accompany, the play or the production. So that's how I got into musical theater.
That is so cool. So they're like, oh, we need a piano. Get Melissa.
Yes, I was the token pianist, and I would always accompany the singers. I would always accompany church and the choir, and they would always ask me to be a part of the production too. So it just kind of, musical theater has always been a part of my life, whether I chose it or not. So
it found you.
Musical theater always finds me, whether or not I veer towards it and veer away from it. It will always stick around,
Wow,
whether or not I choose it.
My second question is, I know you play instruments, so what instruments do you play, and does it help you when you're like doing musical theater? Does like that, having that skill just put you further in the table?
Oh, to answer your last question, I firmly believe that playing musical instruments definitely helps with musical theater, especially acting, just because there's a term for it where you memorize like symbiotic lines, like the meter of and rhythm of your lines of spoken word. And I really, truly feel like music has helped me adapt to that memorization and kind of absorbing that information into my body. And so I truly believe that has helped with musical theater, is having that deeper understanding, not only with that rhythmic sense, but like the feeling and the emotion. You can feel it on a completely different level when you're a musician and you have those kinds of skill sets, especially the motor skills. What was your first question before that? There was a first question before that, right?
What instruments do you play?
Oh, yes. I'm actually a multi-instrumentalist, but my main instrument is piano. I'm also a singer, and I play the drums, the bass, the guitar, the fiddle, the harmonica, and some percussion instruments like cajon. And I fiddled around with the didgeridoo, and what else? The tambourine. Any percussion instrument you can think of, I could play it.
Wow.
And I fiddle around with the sax.
Do you use like percussion instruments when you like sing? To like.
Oh yes, absolutely. Egg shaker, tambourine, sticks. Sometimes a kalimba if I have a kalimba at hand. So whatever I can get my hands on. Yes, I
need someone to help play percussion, please.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of percussion.
My next question is, what is your favorite role you've ever had in a show, or just your favorite show?
Oh, without a doubt, my 2 roles at Disneyland as a dueling pianist. Oh. Yeah, so at Disneyland, I was part of their first and only dueling piano show called the dueling pianos at the Golden Horseshoe. Oh, wait, Showdown at the Golden Horseshoe. That's what it was called. It's the Showdown at the Golden Horseshoe. My name was Thomasina Francesca Dmitri Amadeus Nikolai Stravinsky Kabalevsky Tchaikovsky Paganini Puccini Bellini Rossini Grieg and Strauss and Bach and Haydn von Beethoven V. And then I can't remember my other name. I think it was like Bosendorfer or something. I don't remember.
Contrast.
Yeah, just because I was the I can't. She was the dueling pianist that would live at the Golden Horseshoe, whereas Thomasina was the AKA the Carnegie kid, who stumbled upon this Golden Horseshoe and heard that they needed another piano player. So it was such a fun show, and my proudest role, because it was a very competitive role and a very gruesome audition process. Like, there should have been a reality show, because piano players were dropping like flies in the audition.
Oh, no, like the Legally Blonde.
Yeah, so it was hilarious. There was 10. I remember first there was like they auditioned like 30 pianists, and they were left with 10. And I was the only female, so I felt really proud. And what was even better was, like, as the training started, so we had a week of intense training, they were just dropping like flies. First it was 10 pianists, next day it was 8 pianists, the next day it was 7 pianists, and the next day it was 6 pianists, and then we finally got 6 pianists. And so it was so great to be one of those.
Oh, wow.
Those
That
pianists.
must have felt like just, wow, a huge accomplishment.
So proud. I've never been so proud. If you ever go on my Instagram, you could see all the amazing costumes that I got to wear. It was such a great role. Definitely my proudest role.
Say your handle so that people will know.
Wait, which one? Oh, Melissa J. Alcazar on Instagram. Yeah.
Look it up to see all her amazing costumes.
Yes, please do.
So exciting. I've always wanted to work in Disney, either like in the parade
or so
like
great.
Princess. I think it would just be so awesome.
Oh, it's so much fun. Like, after work, I would just go on a ride. I'd go to California Adventure and just, But it was a dream come true. It really was. I loved it so much.
My next question is, are you singer, actor, or dancer first? I feel like you're mostly a pianist first.
Yes.
But those.
I would say in order: singer, actor, dancer. Because I still do some auditions here and there for acting. But I make my living as a singer. So I'm a professional singer pianist, professional singing pianist, technically a dueling pianist. So singer and then actor.
And like when you were working at Disney or like just like in general, what are like pre-show rituals that you had to like just get you into the character?
Oh, I had so many. So it's always I always have to have at least like an hour of lip trills, warm-ups, neck stretches, hamstring stretches, lots of like lip like things like this, like lip base exercises, and and like neck massages and tongue sticking out your tongue, all those wacky things that singers do.
I think that was my favorite, when you scrunch in your face and you scrunch it really wide.
Oh yeah. Or like open up your eyes and lift your eyebrows, or like open up your jaw and get your neck really tense and then let it go. Yeah. Lots of those.
Not us just making funny faces.
I know. Well, I mean, that's usually what I do. Or like, a little bit of yoga, a downward dog or two. Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, and just because I'm like interested, do you have any like Disney horror stories of like when the show went wrong or something?
Oh my God, I can tell you there's so many things. So many things went wrong in the first week, because this was the first time that we had done the show and we had only intensive training for like Monday through Friday, 7 hours of the day, learning this music within a week. So, and this music, it was like a 36-minute show. It was a lot of memorization in a small period of time. So our first week was just havoc of like us messing up here and there and like missing notes. But one time, it was so hilarious. One time I had this brilliant idea with my partner of just like trying to move the pianos while we were playing them at the same time, like in a circle. And I remember trying to like push the piano with my skirt. And the skirt is this like leather material that can get kind of sticky. And somehow, of course, this leather skirt got like wedged in between the piano. So like as I'm moving this piano, like I'm also simultaneously getting stuck on the piano, so that by the time I get back to playing like the low register of the piano, I'm like stuck. And I don't fall too bad, but you can clearly see that I like fell over onto the bench. It was very gracious.
Right?
I didn't fall on the ground.
Oh, okay.
But I did fall on the bench, and luckily the bench saved me, so it didn't look too bad. Yeah, just a little like, hey, that was a move I meant to do. Luckily, I was so gracious enough that nobody could tell that I had made a gracious fall onto the bench.
You meant to do it. It was part of the show.
Yeah, I made it look like it was part of the show because we were doing some shenanigans, moving piano. So people were already like, what is happening? So I think they thought that was part of it. But nope, I was truly stuck.
Okay, my last question. Where can people find you?
Oh my gosh, you can find me. So you can find me streaming on Twitch 3 times a week. Monday, Thursday, Saturday. It's twitch.tv/Missy Alcazar Music. Just keep in mind, it is an 18 and over show, so it's for mature audiences only. But you can also find me on Instagram under Melissa J. Alcazar or Missy Alcazar Music. And you can also find me on Spotify. I would love it if you would follow my Spotify.
And
Yeah,
Spotify, Missy.
yeah, Missy Alcazar Music. Same thing with YouTube. Yeah, I do these behind the scenes of these things called Songwriter Diaries, where it's a vlog of me, recording myself at the recording studio, behind the scenes of like how I write songs. So if anybody's interested
That
in
is
what
so
I do,
fun.
yeah. So if anyone's interested, subscribe to my YouTube channel. That would be amazing.
Yes, if you're interested in music at all, I would definitely recommend checking that out and just seeing like inside of a musical brain. Okay, thank you so much, Missy.
No, thank you. Thank you, Jada. Thanks for having me.
And now on to your opportunities for this week. First up, we have La Jolla Playhouse Young Performers Conservatory, which we talked about last week, but in case you haven't already applied, this is a 5-week intensive where you're going to be receiving professional training in acting, scene study, voice, speech, improv, and movement. I myself have done it for 2 years and I've loved it. So I highly recommend you check it out and apply.
And find some classes and camps in singing, dancing, and acting with San Diego Junior Theater at juniortheater.com. I took part in them, a lot of them. I know Emily has as well, and I've had a great time learning and growing with San Diego Junior Theater, so it's definitely worth checking out. So once again, go visit juniortheater.com to find some cool classes and camps in singing, dancing, acting, and other fine arts.
And for our final opportunity of the week, we have the California Young Playwrights Contest. So if you're a young playwright and you have something written or you'd like to write, you can write an original unpublished play for it to be produced. And you can enter that contest at playwrightsproject.org.
Wow, that's awesome. All right, so let's move into our activity of the week. And our activity of the week is actually just recommending some cool resources to check out musical theater if you want to learn more. So Emily, go ahead and let us know.
Yeah, continuing on with our trend of recommending Instagram accounts for you to learn about. If you want to learn more about musical theater, in particular Broadway musical theater, you can check out Broadway_memories. And if you want to look at another account, you can always look at Playbill, both on Instagram.
And if you're looking forward to maybe watching some shows, some professionally filmed shows, be sure to check out the streaming platform Broadway On Demand, which is basically an entire streaming platform dedicated to Broadway shows that are professionally filmed. And also, if you don't have Broadway On Demand and aren't looking to get a new streaming platform, check out Netflix. There's productions such as Newsies and Shrek already filmed on there, the musicals, of course. And then you can also check out on Disney Plus a fully filmed professional version of Hamilton, which is awesome. I watched it myself. I'm sure a lot of people have. Emily, did you watch it?
Yeah, I did. And I loved it.
Isn't it great? It's so great. It's a great place to start out if you're trying to get more into musical theater and watch more. So yeah, with that being said, thank you so much for joining us this week. We hope you learned a ton about musical theater and writing music for musicals in general. And we really hope you guys join us next week.
Yeah, we'll see you then. Have a great week.